Welcome to the Daily Vibecasting. Today, we're strapping in for a rapid-fire exploration of what's setting Exabuzz. We've got 18 significant posts lined up.
18, yeah. Covering tech, global events, market shifts. Basically a real snapshot.
Exactly. We'll keep it quick, insightful. Let's dive straight in.
Okay, first up, this is pretty big news breaking from @WatcherGuru around 7.07 UTC. It seems the U.S. and China are actually cutting tariffs for 90 days.
90 days. Wow. What are the numbers?
Yeah, U.S. down from a huge 145% to 30%. China dropping from 125% to just 10%.
Okay, that's a massive shift. Potential cooling off of that trade war from 2018.
Looks like it, at least temporarily. Market sentiment seems pretty optimistic, bullish. This comes after those Geneva talks, and remember, Trump had floated maybe an 80% cut earlier.
Right. And China's had that economic slowdown, the reserve ratio cut back in September. Interesting timing.
Definitely context there.
Okay, moving on. At Elon Musk, 7.28 UTC. A very simple post.
Yep.
He was endorsing a post from @Jessica Taylor Human Right.
Exactly. Pelton was arguing that U.S. grid losses, transmission, and distribution are actually under 5%. So pushing back on this idea the grid is super inefficient.
And Pelton's point was that things like batteries, EVs, they can actually help the grid, improve the load factor.
Yeah, make better use of what we already have. It's fascinating. This isn't even a new idea. Apparently, back in 1912, they were talking about EVs for overnight load balancing.
Back in 12?
No way. Seriously. And Pelton threw out some 2022 numbers, enough overnight surplus energy to charge like 211 million EVs.
Wow.
Plus, you mentioned Tesla's V2G, vehicle-to-grid tech. Potential for huge peak capacity there. Really makes you think differently about EVs.
Absolutely. Okay, switching gears completely. Speed warp time, 11.000 UTC at Image Different.
Yeah, the AI website builder post.
Right, highlighting how AI can build like stunning 3D websites in less than 60 seconds.
It's just wild when you compare it. Tim Berners-Lee, first website, 1991. Took him maybe 9-10 months.
Yeah, that contrast is unbelievable.
And @ImageDefran, who tracks AI tools, pointed to Dora AI as an example.
Dora AI. Got it.
It just shows how far generative AI and these, no-code platforms have come, especially since the early 2010s. And think about internet speeds back then versus now. AI is democratizing this stuff.
Totally. All right, let's jump to crypto. @Saylor, 12.02 UTC. Michael Saylor.
Bitcoin evangelist, chairman of strategy.
Yep.
Reporting another big buy.
How big this time?
13,390 Bitcoin. Bought for roughly $1.34 billion.
Okay, wow. What was the average price?
About $99,856 per Bitcoin. Pretty close to that 100K mark.
And their total stash now?
Get this, 568,840 Bitcoin total. Acquired for around $39.41 billion overall. Average price across all buys is about $69,287.
Incredible. He's really sticking to his guns on Bitcoin as that inflation hedge.
Oh, yeah. And he mentioned a 15.5% yield on their Bitcoin holdings just for 2025 so far.
With Bitcoin nearing $100 and all that pro-crypto talk from last year, his bet looks pretty interesting right now.
Definitely one to watch.
Okay, sticking with tech, but shifting back to AI to Akshay Pichar, 12.45 UTC. Excited about something from Microsoft.
Yeah, Microsoft open sourced something called bitnet.cpp.
Bitnet.cpp. What is it?
It's described as a blazing fast framework for one-bit large language models, LLMs. And the key is it runs on CPUs, regular computer processors.
So to not needing the huge, expensive GPUs.
Exactly. Akshay Pichar, who focuses on simplifying this stuff, thinks this could mean running massive models, like 100 billion parameter models, on your local device.
Seriously, that's game-changing.
Potentially. He's claiming big speed improvements, like up to 6x faster, and way less energy used, maybe 82% less.
That could really democratize access to powerful AI, less reliance on specialized hardware.
For sure. It integrates with Llama.cpp, apparently. Uses some lookup table methods. Very technical, but the potential impact is huge.
Okay, more AI. A list this time. Mira AIT, 2.01 p.m. UTC.
Yeah, a big list. Over 60 AI tools aimed at boosting productivity.
60 tools? What kind of stuff?
All sorts. Ideas, websites, writing help, meeting summaries, chatbots, automation, UI UX design, images, video, even tools for Twitter.
A whole toolkit. Anything specific stand out?
Well, Dora AI got another mention. Building those 3D websites in minutes, no coding needed.
Seems to be a recurring theme today.
Yeah. There was even a link showing a professional site built in under 90 seconds. It just fits that broader trend, AI making things easier, faster across the board.
Makes sense. Now let's get a different perspective. At RetroAgent 12, 2.27 p.m. UTC. A bit skeptical about that trade deal.
Yeah, asking basically explain the win here, especially from a Maj perspective.
What's their argument?
They're saying, well, China's already negotiating, so what's the point? They don't see any real structural wins just walking back that 145% tariff that they claim tanked the markets.
So questioning the actual substance.
Right, and pointing out it doesn't seem to force companies to manufacture back in America. Sort of framing it as a retreat rather than a victory.
Okay, provide some balance there. Let's shift to the X platform itself. At X Daily, 4:32 p.m. UTC. News about an X card.
Potential news. Speculation based on code found in the app mentioning X card payments.
Interesting. Any branding mentioned?
Yeah, MasterCard branding was apparently visible in the code.
Okay. Didn't MasterCard partner with someone recently on digital wallets?
They did, yeah, back in 2023. And remember, X World Wallet launched a Visa debit card last year with similar features. So maybe X is expanding its financial footprint.
Could be. One to keep an eye on. Now, market weirdness. At Unusual Whales, 5:51 p.m. UTC.
Ah, yes. This is fascinating. They spotted some really unusual options trading right before that tariff news hit.
Unusual how?
Millions of dollars pouring into out-of-the-money ceasefire calls. Basically, big bets the S&P 500 would jump, placed in the last minutes of trading on Friday. And these were short-term options, expiring soon.
And did they pay off?
Apparently, big time. Those $580 strike calls reportedly gained like 1,400% by Monday morning.
1,400%, wow.
Yeah, and given the timing, right before the S&P rallied 2.6% on the tariffs news, at Unusual Whales is raising questions about potential insider trading.
You can see why, especially after Trump's buy stocks comment just a few days earlier on May 8th.
Exactly. The timing is suggestive.
Okay, let's talk drug prices. At Vigilant Fox, 6:19 p.m. UTC. Strong take on a Trump executive order.
Very strong. Calling it a wrecking ball to Big Pharma, claiming it could slash drug prices by up to 90%.
90%, that's a huge claim. How?
They mentioned RFK Jr. being involved as HHS secretary, highlighting past pharma lobbying efforts. The mechanism seems to be this most favored nation pricing idea.
Tying U.S. prices to lower prices in other developed countries.
That's the concept. But it's worth remembering a similar effort in his first term got blocked by the courts. So we'll see if this one sticks.
Right, history there. Okay, now the White House view. At Pressec, 9:31 p.m. UTC. Listing achievement.
Yeah, a whole list for the week. UK trade deal, China trade deal, Houthi ceasefire, India-Pakistan ceasefire, a hostage freed, and that drug price EO we just talked about.
Sounds like a busy week. But how solid are these?
Well, context is important. Reports suggest the UK deal might be limited, tariffs still in place. The China deal, as we discussed, is temporary tariff cuts during ongoing talks.
Ceasefires can be fragile too, right? And the hostage release.
Exactly. India-Pakistan ceasefire confirmed, but reports of violations exist. The hostage release seems verified, but tied to broader Gaza dynamics, like the ongoing famine risk. So it's a list, but each item has nuances.
Good to keep that perspective. Okay, quick AI mention. At CB Doge, 7:50 a.m. UTC was pushing the Grok app.
Yeah, the standalone app for Grok, xAI's competitor to Google Bard, pitched as the maximum truth-seeking AI.
And it integrates with X for real-time info.
That's the key feature, yeah, tapping into the live X feed.
All right, back to the White House official account. At White House, 11:02 a.m. UTC. Very optimistic tone.
Extremely. Talking about Mondays, highlighting a Trump post claiming a 59% drug price cut, lower cost overall, and no inflation.
No inflation is a bold claim. What's the backdrop there?
Well, you have Trump's previous executive orders on drug prices, but also you had experts warning back in 2024 that some of his policies could increase inflation. Then again, some analysis found his first-term tariffs didn't really correlate much with inflation.
So, conflicting views. And now this tariff truce with China adds another twist.
It's a complex economic picture for sure.
Okay, let's lighten things up a bit. At Cramer Tracker, 8:30 p.m. UTC, talking about Jim Cramer.
Yeah, the inverse Cramer phenomenon. They highlighted Cramer's April 2025 Black Monday prediction, which basically marked the market bottom.
Oh, the irony.
Right. NASDAQ's up like 24% since then. It just feeds into that whole idea that his predictions often go the wrong way. There was even an inverse Cramer ETF for a while.
Hilarious. Okay, Sports World. At Ben Stiller, 2:31 a.m. UTC. Being nice to a Celtics player.
Yeah. Stiller, a big Knicks fan, sending support to Jason Tatum of the Celtics after Tatum got injured in their playoff game.
That's pretty classy, considering the rivalry and the Knicks actually leading the series when it happened.
It really is, especially with all the debate around Tatum's playoff performance. A nice moment cutting through the usual fan toxicity.
Good to see. Quick tech note. At Theo, 10.54 AM UTC, liked the new Google app icon on iOS.
Yep, praised the new Gradient G design. Said it was way better than the old flat look. A move away from material design, maybe?
Interesting. Has it shown up on Android yet?
Apparently not on the latest Pixel phones, according to him.
Yeah.
Just iOS for now.
Okay. Now for some cultural humor. At Sperry San Nike's 4.46 p.m. UTC with great white people sayings.
Yeah, a funny list of common American English idioms like hold your horses, playfully pointing out some cultural stereotypes.
Hold your horse. Well, where does that even come from?
Probably literal horse transportation days. A lot of replies added more examples too. It taps into that whole discussion about American idioms and where they originate.
Always interesting. All right, final one. At Stool Presidente, Dave Portnoy, 2:30 a.m. UTC. Reacting to the Knicks win?
Kind of. He's a Celtics fan, remember? So he acknowledged the Knicks win over his Celtics, but said he was too distracted by other stuff to focus on it.
Trying to downplay the loss.
Pretty much. Finished with hashtag Celtics in 7, still believing they'll win the series. Classic Portnoy, dealing with a rival's win, maybe even worried he jinxed his own team.
Haha, the life of a passionate sports fan. And that wraps up our whirlwind tour of the X5 today. From major trade shifts and AI breakthroughs to market jitters and sports rivalries.
A lot packed in there. Hopefully gives you a good sense of what's buzzing.
Absolutely. Plenty to chew on. Stay curious, explore what caught your ear, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive.